how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing extremely well. My collaboration with Frank Misa at Strike Gold Shave, Lewis and Clark, a co-collaboration with Bobby Moffett of Sawdust Creation Studios. I wanted to show you my brush real quick before I get it wet. I'm gonna dip it in my bowl. I am at the Doris Ranch Living History Village. If you're familiar with my content, you've seen parts of the Living History Village before. Autumn Cabin from McDuff's was done over here to my right. And then Eastwood, a Shave Dad collaboration, was done over here to my right. This is a bigger part of Doris Ranch where I've done many videos from the Filbert hazelnut orchards. Just one part of a very large historical site here in Western Oregon. Before I go too much further, I'm gonna set this in my rinse bowl. I got my bowls, or my stools, my bowl setting on them. Got you guys set up on the tripod. In my announcement video, I forgot to discuss Brown Windsor soap. Not Brown Windsor soup, but Brown Windsor soap. The fragrance, put some photos right here on the screen. The fragrance for Lewis and Clark, the first fragrance in the Core of Discovery collection. This will be a 3-part release, with the second fragrance being released around June. Is inspired by a very historical soap called Brown Windsor. Prior to discussing this collaboration with Frank, I had never smelled Brown Windsor. In preparation for it, I actually ended up buying a couple. I'll put on screen here one company that I did find on Etsy, and I really like their bar soap. It's the only thing I've purchased from them. Talk about Brown Windsor more in just a second. I have my scoop here from Ian Lagaki, and I'm going to scoop that into my walnut bowl, which is part of this collaboration. Lewis and Clark drops March 8th, this Saturday. Today is Wednesday. Drops March 8th at 7 a.m. Pacific, so that would be 10 a.m. Eastern. March 8th at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern. I think I want a little bit more soap. This brush is a 26 millimeter. I would definitely, it's not like the most ultra high density knot, but I would classify it as a high density knot. Just not ultra high density. What do you think about that background? I love this place. If you know me and my content, you know that I love Doris Ranch. I think most recently, if you saw my Green Witch review or my Clown Fruit review, those were both recorded from here at Doris Ranch. This place is huge, a couple hundred acres of living history. Doris Ranch is the oldest operating filbert, is what we call them. Hazelnuts might be what you know them as. Hazelnut farm in America, in North America is my understanding. I could be wrong, but that, if I recall correctly, that's a fact. Love this bowl. I freaking love it. Did you see on my announcement video? This thing weighs 1 pound, 7 ounces. That's a big bowl. It's definitely my heaviest bowl. So Brown Windsor was worn by Napoleon. It was worn by Lewis and Clark. Spray bottle. I'm gonna put on my rubber band real quick. It was worn by Napoleon. Also worn by Lewis and Clark, Winston Churchill. It's been around forever. A few different times it was popular as a fragrance. But for the most part, the fragrance found in Brown Windsor has been associated with this brown soap. I'm gonna go another little squirt. I'm gonna dry out. It's about 45 degrees. I was wearing a jacket when I first came out here. Not anymore. Normally you'd see me prep with the Tube 2.0. This is old school. That, you know, we're kind of going old school today. So why not do a Phoenix Artisan throwback with their original pre-shave soap? This is unobtainium. You'll be lucky to find it anywhere out there. This is all I got left, is about half a circle. This was the daddy, what gave birth to the pre-shave soap that you might know as the Cube. And it was originally a circle. Now it's like a crescent moon, a half moon, not a crescent moon. It'll be a crescent moon before I know it. Got a couple other fragrances. Well, I got the menthol and then the ATG. You're here for Lewis and Clark. No scent to it, scentless. I only let my badgers soak 3 to 5 minutes. Video has been recording for 5. I'm gonna say it's good. If you saw my announcement video, with it, I was mostly referring to the fragrance that's found in the EDP. How the splash, and like when I'm doing a fragrance review, I'm not talking about the soap. Generally, I am talking about either the EDP, but generally, what I am generally referring to is the splash. And so here in this video, that's what I want to talk about, is the splash, because the splash does behave differently than the EDP, and that's because of all the skin foods and the other ingredients that are in the splash that aren't found in the EDP. If you truly want to experience a fragrance as intended, you have to try the EDP. Got the EDP on my left arm, the splash over here. One of the two contrasting differences between the two is the EDP, you start out being easily able to notice that citrus and then the ozone. With the splash, what I get more up front, scent notes right up here, is the whole leaf wood. Then in that, what I get, how I describe it, is a gentle, woody, slightly camphor type of wood note. And at the same time, kind of with it, I think I'm getting the mahogany. I'll just use the spray bottle. This is my Walmart spray bottle. Talked about it before, won't talk about it now. I love it, look at that. Wife and daughter give the fragrance an 8. I'd give it an 8 or a 9. Like I said in that video, we weren't trying to create the ultimate date night fragrance. We were trying to create a fragrance that would capture something like what you see behind me, to evoke a feeling, to evoke emotions of the outdoors, of being out on the trail with the core discovery, that Lewis and Clark expedition. This first fragrance, that is who we're honoring, is Lewis and Clark. And like I said in my announcement video, if you didn't see it, I feel like just like how Bobby captured that feeling with his brush and bowls, those will be available on Strike Gold. Go to the sales page for Lewis and Clark. There will be a link for these bowls. There's only a few available, 5 were made. But I also feel like the fragrance captures what we were going after, and that is to immerse your senses into the trail, into the expedition, that when you smell it, you're like, oh, that's woody, that's earthy, that smells like what you might envision an expedition to smell like. Frank knocked it out of the park. In that case, 10 out of 10, this thing's 100. This totally, for me, evokes those emotions. After the whole leaf wood, after the mahogany, with the splash, that Texas cedar wood, it comes in warm, dry, distinctly woody. And it's adding like this strong, earthy backbone with just like a touch of smooth. It's doing this great job of just smoothing out the wood note. Once this thing settles, like 20 minutes into it, easily a 10 for me. Like right now, I've been wearing it for like an hour. The dry down on this is spectacular. The top and middle for me is like an 8, but once you get to the dry down, this is one of my favorite woody fragrances, bar none. Just so damn good. It really is. But it's not the ultimate date night fragrance. I think a lot of guys, though, you're gonna be able to wear this anywhere, everywhere. It's perfect. And like all day, because of the woods, it's great for fall and winter, but at the same time, there's enough lightness going on, like the Kananga, which is like a ling ling, like I talked about before in my announcement video. And then you got the citrus and the cypress that is lightening it up, that there's no reason why you could not wear this in the summer. I think that this fragrance is a great all-season, any occasion fragrance. I really do. Beautiful lather. How's the mic doing? Am I yelling? I'm having to relearn my voice volume, if you will, with this microphone. It's only been a couple of months now, right? Got it for Christmas, but I've only been using it since what, probably middle of January. If Saturday's the 8th, today would be 7/6/5, March 5th. Yeah, that sounds about right. I got Wednesdays off and I freaking love it. I work Monday and Tuesday, Thursday and Friday, weekends off, Wednesday off. Living the dream, I tell you what, with my work schedule. Okay. After that, Texas cedarwood. Another thing to talk about is the jasmine and the Kananga and that ozone. The jasmine, with all of this, it's so well blended that like at no one point am I ever really to identify the jasmine. There's a lot of notes like that in this that are more supporting characters that are doing different things with the fragrance, like softening the edges of it. Soap and splash don't smell exactly like the bar soap, the bath bar. They did do a bath bar for this. It's a great bath bar. I've used it twice now. Washed my nethers with it. And that bath bar smells almost identical to the shave soap. It's a great bath bar. If you're familiar with my content, you might know that I probably own 20 or 30 different bath bars. I've owned bath bars from every small artisan that you can imagine. And this one performs just as well as any. If you can make shave soap, you should be able to make cold pressed or cold processed. That's what they call a bath bar. This is a 26 millimeter high mountain white that I got from Bobby in this handle. The brush and bowl are part of the collaboration. Like I said in a post today, I hate to do anything limited release because I am like anti-FOMO, but that is just the nature of artisan brushes. And if you do miss out, reach out to Bobby and he would be happy to do a custom for you. He's probably also got a handful available for you to already choose from. That was my only reservation with reaching out to Bobby, was that I knew it would be a limited thing because the amount of work that it takes to create these. If you're wondering about prices, the bowl is going for $75. The handle is going for $65, and that does not include a knot. I believe you can get a synthetic for $10. He has a few different synthetics, and then he currently has the V26 Fanturion, which is a gel knot. That I believe is $65, and then the High Mountain White is $65. If you want one of those, mine was $200. That was for the bowl, the brush, and the knot was $200, and that includes shipping. Even if you don't buy a knot, that includes shipping. You don't have to buy a knot. My 1969 Gillette Super Speed, loaded with the first use Bolzano, one of my favorite blades. I wanted to have that in my photos. One of the reasons why you often don't see the blade in my thumbnails and in my photos is because of the reflection that they cast. I tried once again to get the blade box into my photos, but it just wasn't happening. No mirror, I'm using the phone screen. I did not pay for the soap and splash. I didn't pay for the EDP or the bath bar. They were sent to me as part of the collaboration. My rinse bowl right here, handle's too short, it fell down in my bowl. That's okay. I'm gonna wet the face once more. Second pass. That's cold. If you want a cool scoop, reach out to Ian Lagaki if you've never seen any of my scoops from him. Ian does killer work. He's a good friend of mine, and I highly recommend that you reach out to him on Instagram. If you don't know how to reach out to him, Instagram is a great way to do it, and you can see some of his work while you're there. How's the lather looking? It's hard for me to tell looking into the screen. It always looks thin to me when I'm looking into the screen in this daylight. Have you ever looked at a cell phone out in the bright sun? That's what I'm looking at. Gonna have to rinse my razor. Love this razor. One of the reasons why I love it is sentimental reasons. It is the first razor that I ever purchased, double-edged razor, when I was a kid. Well, my mom probably bought that, a Gillette sensor, when I was a teenager. But the first DE razor that I ever purchased was this one. Years ago, we found it at a thrift store, back before I knew about the internet space. The first DE I ever got was a gift from my mom, a Gillette Slim. But this was the first one that I ever purchased. And this is what really opened up my eyes to what traditional wet shaving could be. The Gillette Slim, I didn't know it at the time, but the alignment was off, and so I wasn't getting good shaves with it. It only took me, I don't know, a month or two later to actually take a look and notice, and then that's what got me into restoring razors. I was looking at it going, I wonder if I could fix this. Guess what? It took me about a year. I figured out how to fix it. It maybe took me 2 years. Yeah, probably closer to 2. The oak moss is a mossy oak moss. The patchouli is exactly what you'd expect. It's grounding, it's earthy. This is super well blended. The wood smoke is just another background player. Sometimes I get a hint of wood smoke. It's really, really good. It is. This has been sent out to Mike at Long Island Shaving, Matthew Lawrence, Ken Surfs, and Sean Stapelfield. If you want to check out their reviews and their thoughts of it, my understanding is Ken is recording his today. Ken is recording his today. Mike, Long Island Shaves, has already done his initial thoughts, his first impression video. Matthew does his videos on Wednesdays and Sundays. So Matthew might not have his up till Sunday. But don't take my word for it. Please check out their content if you never watched them. I'm fairly certain that most of you watching this know who Ken Surfs is. But Matthew, Mike, and Sean all do great content. At home I would rinse. Out here I just try and wipe down the best that I can. And then I rinse my beard. I'll probably shower tonight is how I'll actually rinse it. I'll go home, shower, and then ask the wife, what's for dinner? But I know what's for dinner. She's making her homemade chicken pot pie, which kind of feels like it would fit with a location like this. Can't tell you how cool this collaboration is to me. It is just such an honor, such a treat, and to actually see it come to fruition, is that the right word? To see it come to life. Two guys that are just like, I think I'm adventurous when I go out on a day like this, or when I go up into the Willamette National Forest and I venture off trail. I'm like, yeah, I'm a man, I'm adventurous. These guys were really going out into, for what was for them was the unknown. Certainly it wasn't the unknown, but for them it was. And after a few months, most people back east thought they were dead because the survival rate was low. They did not very many people expected them to make it back. And the fact that they only lost one person on the expedition, and that was Floyd, a ruptured, not spleen, a ruptured something, but they only lost one guy, and that was Captain Floyd. He died a couple of months into the journey, and my understanding is that he would have died anyways because it was a ruptured pelvis. Is that a thing? I can't think of it. I know it. When I stop the camera, I'll remember. But they only lost one person on the entire expedition, and it's just crazy cool. Crazy cool. The splash. You got to shake the dickens out of it. This is chock full of skin food. I noticed with Jelly Ring the second time I used it, that was the previous Strike Gold shave that I did. The second time that I used it, it was a little oily, and that was my bad. You got to shake this really well. If you look at it when it's not shook up, so when you first get it, if you look at it, you'll see that there's a layer of oil on top. I believe I took a photo. I'll put it right there. That's what it looks like before you shake it. Shake it till you can't shake it no more, but don't break it. And then apply it. You don't need a lot. You only need a little. This is full of skin foods, just like the soap is. In my opinion, when it comes to post-shave feel, now with this soap and this splash, when it comes to post-shave feel from the skin foods, the skin nurturing ingredients found in the product, this product only has equals. It does not have any superiors. The post-shave from Strike Gold is bar none the best or as good as anybody. Gotta shake it. Don't over apply it, and you'll be just fine. You won't have that oily problem. Mine's perfect now. This is a masculine, I like the word Mike used. I was searching for that word, rugged. When Mike smelled it, he called it rugged. And there is a rugged quality to this, and that is certainly something that we are going after. So it was cool to hear Mike's initial thoughts and his first impressions of the fragrance. I won't forget to put those gentlemen's channels in the description. So look down below. Mike, Matthew, Sean, and Ken. Thank you, gentlemen, for being a part of this. Thank you once again, Bobby and Frank. Absolute honor. I cannot overemphasize that. Stick around for a B-roll, a 360 of my surroundings, proving that that's not a green screen, that I really am where I say I am. And I would rather be, there's few other places I would rather be right now. Yeah, very few. Very few. Take care, my friends. It's the little big things. This is the kind of little thing that never gets old for me. Look at that sunny blue sky. Absolutely gorgeous. Couple of, are those clouds? Yeah, those are clouds. Clouds in the sky. I had to check my green screen. Like, look around. Like, when I look at my green screen, it's not green. So I gotta look at my green screen. Yep, those aren't clouds. If you can see them, those are towers up there. You got a radio transmission tower. And then, I don't know what that other one is. Is that the same thing probably? You guys take care. And God willing, I'll see you next time. Welcome to the B-roll. I've been looking in that direction. I record these before the shave. Off to my right is more of the Living History Village. That cabin is where I recorded Autumn Cabin review. And then, I don't know if you can see it, let's move over a little bit. That wagon wheel, or the wagon, zoom in real quick. That's where I did Eastwood. Turning back to the direction you've been looking. Just doing like an eyeball, I'd say that the top is about 10 feet there in the center, and then roughly about 5 feet, maybe 4.5, 5 to the low edge right here. I want to again thank Bobby and Frank. It's just been a great experience. I've always loved the core discovery and the stories and stuff like that, learning about it in school, learning about it, since then in my adult life and my love for history. It's a little big things, my friends. Before you know it, we'll all be living history. Take care. I'll see you next time.